Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So thanks everyone for joining today. Today's lesson is going to be on the 25 Kusal, Chaithasika or thoughts or mental factors. So these are what's called positive karma creation thoughts. We're going to look at them in detail, and these are the thoughts we need to cultivate in our mind, on a daily basis. And there are 10 unique actions that we can do to cultivate these thoughts. Have you heard about these thoughts before? The Kusal thoughts?
Yes.
You come across them, Neera, right?
Yeah, I mean, have come across, I mean, I have been looking at some of those other texts and things like that, so I've come across those, but...
Yeah. So we're gonna simplify them so that we can relate to them, because these thoughts are originally taught in Pali language. So we're going to translate them into English and Sinhala and trying to, connect with them at a real level. So what we have to understand is these 25 thoughts, these positive thoughts that creates positive karma, we already experience. So there's nothing new, right? But these thoughts have been taught to us in ancient language called Pali. So, you might hear some strange words, but what I want you to understand is the meaning of them and how you can relate to them. So let's quickly go over some previous slides. So just to summarize what we're learning in the context of Abhidhamma, or the highest teaching of Buddhism, is that there are 170 unique energy types that the Tathagata Buddha has taught us. And that's been classified in the teaching of the Abhidhamma subject. So we are really, just trying to give a very high level overview of those. And what we're looking at right now is out of those 170, we're looking at the 52 thought energies. So the 170 energy types is very similar to your periodic table that you study in school, but these are even higher level energies in terms of how small they are. So they are, if you can imagine your periodic table is at a certain kind of micro level, these are even further subdivisions of those and other types of energies. So the 170 energies are the highest level that you can divide energy to, and the energy are of 4 types. Okay, one is called mind energy. One is, there are Pali words and Sinhala words to describe them. Pali word, which you may have heard in the past, is called chitta or vijnana. In Sinhalese, it's called sita or sit for plural. But they're all talking about mind energy. There are 89 different types of mind energies. And the next category is the mental factors that exist within the mind and energy. I'm going to use the word thought to represent mental factors when I go through them with you. So whenever I say thought, I mean the mental factors that exist within the mind energy, but they are in its unique types. Okay, the Pali word for mental factors or thought energy is called Chaithasika. So single translation is Siddhavili, and English translation is thoughts or mental factors. But there are 52 types. So these 52 types we experience in our own minds. So these are nothing alien to you. These already exist within your own mind. It's about recognizing them And once you recognize them, then you can decide to cultivate the positive ones rather than the negative ones. When you do that, you're cultivating, positive karma rather than negative karma. So that's the level of understanding we're trying to achieve here. And it's important to realize that when we learn about these thoughts and the thought energy and the mind energy types, we are really diving into our own minds here, and it's very interesting and fascinating, and it's important to realize the quality of the thoughts that you experience daily. When you start looking into your own mind, you can decide what kind of thoughts to cultivate or entertain in your own mind. So this is the highest teaching when it comes to psychology of the human mind and another being mind. And the next type of energy the Abhidhamma is divided into is material energy, or the physical objects energy that creates all physical objects. There are 28 of these energies. Okay, and it's important to understand them, because if you can touch and feel and see anything with your senses in this realm or any other realms, they're created with a combination of these 28 energies. So we need to look at those. And the idea the reason we need to learn about them is that once you realize that everything around us is made of these energies, then you can focus on the energy level of those objects, so that thereby the attachment to those objects can reduce. The whole point of learning about these energies is so we can look at, see things for what they really are, which is energy. And when you do that, your attachment is lessened, it gets reduced. And ultimately, the whole point of Buddhism is to get rid of your attachment, 100%. When you do that, that's when you really see the next energy type, which is Nippan energy. And Nippan energy is an energy type that already exists in these realms that we live in. It's actually very purest energy form. The way you have to understand Nippan energy is that it doesn't have any qualities of the mind energy or thought energy or material energy. It's in its own class, and it has no beginning, no end. It just exists. Whereas all the other energies has beginning, middle, and end, which is what I kind of trying to show on this chart here. The mind energy and thought energy relationship is what I'm trying to show in this drawing. So when I talk about a vibration, I'm talking about this single vibration here, which is the mind energy and thought energy vibration. So as you can see, they're color coded, and the meaning of the colors are here on this legend here. So in black is the mind energy, which is at the very core, which is a base of the vibration, the mind energy. And attached to that is the thought energy. Now, I'm only showing the first 7 thoughts here, which exist in all 89 mind energies. But this could be up to I think 33 energies and thought energies that can exist in one mind energy. So the actual thought energy can vary, okay, based on the 89 energy types of the mind energy. So what I want you to understand is that whenever we're talking about a living being, the living being has the mind energy and thought energy, okay? That's what makes them a living being, as well as the root energy. But the single vibration like this has 3 stages. It has a beginning, middle, and end. And the time of the beginning part and the middle part and the ending part is equal. It's called Chittakshana in if you just try to relate to it. So if you imagine Chittakshana is like 1/1000th of a second, just to give a number, it's even minute than that. So imagine this 1/1000th of a second, which is one Chittakshana, and this 1/1000th of a second that's a duration, which is another Chittakshana, and the ending portion is also 1/1000th of a second. So that's another Chittakshana. So there's 3 Chittakshana, or 3/1000th of a second is a complete duration of the mind energy vibration. And the relationship of mind energy and thought energy is such that they begin together, they sustain together, or they stay together, and they die together. And then immediately after, there's another vibration: begin, stay, and then die together. Begin, stay, and die together, like that. These vibrations happens at a very fast speed, like the moment, like whenever we blink, okay, these vibrations happen like trillions of us, trillions of vibrations like this, start, begin, and end together. That happens very fast. So we can't really control them, but when we developed our own intellect through insight meditation, we can see these vibrations that exist all around us in the material energies, in our mind energy. We can actually see this vibrational world. And when you see that, then you understand what the Buddha said, which is that everything is impermanent, because everything is made of these vibrations. And it's like, if you can imagine that the entire world is made of Lego, right? And that Lego is not real, right? But Lego is a form of energy. If you can translate Lego pieces to energy types, the 28 Rupa energy types, and electricity is to the Nama energy types. If you can imagine that, everything around us is made of Lego, what Buddha says that, it's the entire physical object world that we live in, is made of, these Lego type energies called Rupa energy. And so don't get attached to them, because they're not real. But it's okay to like intellectually understand that concept. But when you develop your own wisdom thought through insight meditation, when you actually see that vibrational world, that's when you really understand what is said for yourself. And that's when you actually get closer to nirvana. So that is the kind of process we have to go through in order to achieve nirvana. That is the kind of level of understanding we need to go through to achieve nirvana. So that's the whole point of learning these things. Learning Abhidhamma is like giving a map, like a sat nav, to a destination of nirvana. Okay, let's say the way the sat nav works is, if you got a sat nav in your car, and it tells you how to get to, say, London from where you are, that is a guide that tells you a high level picture of, what road to take, what exit to take, what turns to make. So it's a high level, but it's not the true representation of the road itself. When you start going through that road, then you realize it's the actual details that you can see, all the trees and all the buildings and the colors, etc. These are details that you see for yourself when you going through the path. So like that, Abhidhamma, when you learn about this level of Dhamma or this teaching, it tells you the information, or like just like the sat nav, it tells you the things the kind of signs that you will see when you're reaching nirvana. It tells you the quality of the road and the buildings and the trees, but it doesn't really truly represent the buildings and the trees, right, on your path to nirvana. So it's like these are just guides, but when you through insight meditation, when you develop your intellect, and when you experience thoughts, energies, and mind energies and rupa energies, then when you learn these things, it's easy for you to recognize them. Or there's that thought, there's this energy, there's that energy, like that. So it's about learning your own mind and the energies in your own mind and the energies that exist all around us. It's about learning those, and once you learn them, and when you develop your wisdom through insight meditation, you can easily recognize them as you experience them with your own wisdom. So hopefully that made some sense to you. So we will start today's lesson, which is to talk about, so in the last lesson, actually, we talked about the 14 negative thoughts, or our Kusal Chaithasika, mental factors. So in today's lesson, we're going to look at the 25 positive thoughts or positive mental factors. So these are the mental factors we need to cultivate in order to achieve nirvana. Okay, these are the positive energies that we constantly needs to kind of experience in our own mind. So let's look at what they are, and then if you have time, I can show you, well, I can guide you through what you need to do to achieve these. So 25 kusal or positive karma thoughts. The first one is called Shraddha, which is called faith. So there's a thought called faith energy, which is a thought energy type. And it means having faith in Buddha, his teaching, and his disciples. Okay. Now, this Shraddha thought is very powerful because if you understand the qualities of the Buddha, who he really was and what he was capable of, the more you study about the Buddha himself and his teachings and his disciple, the qualities of his disciples in his true sense, that's when you develop your faith thought. So when you understand that, for example, Buddha has the intellect to divide energies into this level of understanding. I mean, it's further divided into even micro kind of categories. But if someone has the intellect to divide and classify energies to a level where you cannot kind of see with the physical apparatus, right? There's no physical apparatus in the world that can see this level of energy types. It's only a developed intellect can do that. So if you can imagine, a Buddha's intellect is such that he has divided all energy forms that exist in all realms to his finest level, and said, there's nothing finer than this. There's only 170 types. There's nothing finer, and everything around us is created from these 170 energy types. And that alone is a quality that you can admire, that you can really pay homage to or respect to, right? That's just one quality of the Tathagata Buddha. And his compassion is limitless. His development of these kusal thoughts is limitless, it's unlimited, right? And he has so many qualities. So learning about those qualities will get your faith mental muscle stronger. It's very important to develop this mental muscle to a very high level so that you cannot be swayed into the wrong path or incorrect path. So as a person who's walking in the path of the Dhamma towards nirvana, it's important that you choose your friends who will support you in this journey, rather than friends who will pull you away from it. And I mean, it's easy to be pulled away from this path if you have a weakened faith muscle. If you have a weakened faith about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, it's easy to be distracted. It's easy to, shorten your, meditation practices, etc. So it's important to learn Buddhism and his teachings and practice them. It's through practice, really. Practice of meditation, for example, is when you really, connect with these teachings, because when you experience the bliss of the samadhi or the dhyana stages that the meditation can give you and make you experience, there's nothing in the physical world that can give you that much pleasure. So if you're a pleasure seeker, then it's important to practice. There's this meditation technique called samatha meditation, and that's one of the famous meditation type is the breathing meditation. But there are 40 different types of meditation for samatha meditation practice. So when you practice that type of meditation, your concentration will be developed into very high level and into dhyana level. We discussed about dhyana, I think very briefly at the beginning, where it helps you to experience the mind energies exist in the Brahma worlds and the Rupa worlds beings. So those levels of mindsets can give you immense pleasure while you're being in this human world, and that kind of pleasure you cannot achieve in any other means. So this teaching will give you immense pleasure, but the goal of Buddhism is not to experience those pleasures and dwell on them or waste time on them, but to even think those pleasures are temporary and to continue the journey towards insight meditation practices and achieve nirvana, which is the ultimate bliss. So this, without faith, you cannot do that. You cannot really continue the journey for a long period of time, because you can easily be distracted. So it's important to learn about Buddhism and the teaching and practice the teaching. That's why we, this exercise, this lesson is all about learning the teaching aspect of Buddha, and also, hopefully it will give you insight into his intellect also, which will increase your faith. So we need to develop our faith muscle to a level where, we to understand that Buddha exists in this time. He hasn't died because his teachings exist. When you learn the teachings at this level and practice meditation and learn the teaching at that level for yourself, that's when you really connect with the Buddha himself. That's when you see the Buddha really through his teachings, not through the statues. Statues are just an icon, but if you want to really connect with the Buddha and to see who he really is, you have to learn his teachings and practice his teachings through meditation, and then the wisdom that you get from it is really how you see the Buddha and ultimately the nirvana that he talked about. So it's highly intellectual. And then the next one is called sati or awareness of the present moment. This is also called mindfulness. So without this thought, you cannot develop your wisdom thought, which is at the bottom here, prajna. So it is very important to constantly exercise this awareness muscle, mental muscle. And to do this, you have to practice meditation and insight meditation specifically. So the awareness, it's through the awareness thought that you will recognize when a negative thought comes to your mind. Because if you're not aware or mindful, how would you recognize something good or bad is happening inside your mind? right? So that's why Buddha says not to intoxicate yourself through alcohol or drugs or anything like that, because when you do that, when you intoxicate yourself, your awareness cannot exist, right? Your awareness thought becomes weak. So when your awareness thought becomes weak, or if it goes to sleep, then your wisdom thought goes to sleep. And then you're not seeing for what it is. You're not seeing, the truth when your wisdom thought and awareness goes to sleep. So it's important to always stay aware, stay mindful. And that's why we must not take any alcohol or drugs to intoxicate ourselves, which will weaken our awareness. And because we have to be alert, we have to be aware of the qualities of the thoughts that occur in our mind. And when we do that, only when we do that, we will recognize, if there's a negative thought that's kind of start to appear in our mind, then we can focus on the negative thought and watch it from a distance until it disappears without cultivating it. Or we can say, don't get attached, don't get attached, don't get attached until it goes away as a beginning stage. But later stage, once your awareness is strong, you'll be able to just watch the negative thought and it just disappears because you don't entertain them anymore. So to do that, you have to practice insight meditation. And there are 21 different types of insight meditation. I will go through them after, I think that'll be next year now, but after the teaching of the Abhidhamma topics. And it's really the insight meditation that helps you to achieve nirvana. Because through insight meditation or satipatthana meditation technique, you can cultivate all of these kusal thoughts. You can make them stronger. You'll have a strong mindset. And you can't be fooled by anything or anyone when you practice insight meditation. Nothing can sway you. Even if your whole world falls apart, your mind won't, because it's been strengthened. Because your awareness and your intellect has been strengthened through insight meditation. So it's a very powerful meditation technique. That's the only technique that helps you to achieve nirvana. So it's important to learn them, practice them daily. And when you do that, your life becomes very simple. You won't have a complicated life because you see everything as energy, nothing more. And when you do that, nothing can move you, nothing can shake you, nothing can surprise you, because you won't react to situations unnecessarily. So you become very peaceful. If you want to experience true peace in your mind, you have to practice insight meditation, especially the feeling meditation, which says, if you get a happy, sad, or neutral feeling, watch the feeling. Well, recognize the feeling first as either happy, sad, or neutral, and just watch it until it disappears. So we'll practice all that later. But through insight meditation, you're developing this particular thought. Next one is shame or hiri. So this thought is opposite of distractedness, shamelessness, or ahirikya, right? That's the negative side. That means your shamelessness to do bad things. You do bad things without any shame, basically. That's a negative aspect. But the positive positive aspect is that you are very shameful to do bad things. So you can only be shameful to do bad things like breaking the 5 precepts when you have very strong hiri thought or shame thought. When this thought is stronger, the opposite becomes weaker, and you'll think twice before you do any negative actions, like harming someone, or lying, or cheating someone, stealing someone's things, or ideas, you know, intoxicating, committing adultery, etc., you'll think twice because of this thought. It's important to strengthen this thought intellectually, because you're doing this kind of positive conditioning for your own well-being, for your own achievement towards nirvana, right? For your own development. So you have to do it truthfully, you have to do it sincerely, and you have to do it intellectually. So it's important to you know, create tricks or situations to allow you to strengthen your hiri thought or shame thought to do bad action. The opposite side of the coin is that the dreaded thought or the otappa, which is being scared to do bad things. So the first one was to have shame to do bad things. The dreaded thought is when you feel scared to do bad things, when you feel scared to lie or cheat others, when you feel scared to kill or harm a living being, when you feel scared to, you know, steal, right, because of breaking the law or because of your own, you know, karma, right? I mean, you know, scared to commit adultery, scared to, you know, intoxicate yourself with drugs or alcohol, etc. So when you're dreading yourself to do these negative things on others, then your otappa thought is stronger, which is very important. And just imagine, you know, if you don't have shame to do bad things, or if you're not scared to do bad things, you can do any bad thing in the world. And, you know, the immediate karma is that your mind will bother you, you feel guilty. And if you don't feel guilty, you'll end up breaking the law and caught up with the legal system, right? Or probably end up in prison or dead in this lifetime. And in next lifetime, you'll probably end up in hell or any other kind of bad realms. Okay, so those are the first four thoughts. The next one is generosity or alobha, which is the opposite of greed. So when you want to practice, or when you want to reduce your greed, lobha, you have to strengthen this muscle, this mental muscle called alobha. Alobha means generosity, which means practicing detachment by giving generously. So when you give, you know, you start giving things like, you know, food and, you know, material objects to those who are in need. You know, if you want to share your knowledge with others, you can generously share them, teach them, but they don't know, but you know well. So you can give up your time, your efforts, your worldly possessions. These are all form of generosity. And when you do that, your only intention should be is to achieve nirvana, is to reduce your greed. By this form of giving, may I reduce my greed to a level where that I can achieve nirvana from this. And that is your expectation. That is your only intention. It shouldn't be because I give this, I want good karma to get more, you know, accumulate more wealth, right? Or to be born in heaven or anything like that. Those are not the intention of someone who walks on this noble path to achieve nirvana. The only intention of giving should be, or any good deed should be achieving nirvana. And generosity, when you practice generosity, you're strengthening your alobha thought, and you have to strengthen it to a level where, you know, you can give even your body parts, because we are very attached to our body parts, our eyes, our, you know, livers, or anything that you can give to help someone else. There's no limit to giving when it comes to Buddhism. If you want to achieve nirvana, there's no limit to giving. And it is that kind of detachment that Buddha has practiced in countless number of lifetimes. In one lifetime, in one Jataka story, called the Vesantra Jataka story, he even gave his children away and his spouse away because simply someone asked for them, and because he was not attached to them in that level. So, but slowly we have to, start, giving generously to the things, to the material objects, physical objects that we attach the most. That's when you really experience, how much attachment you have to these things. If you don't feel pain when you give, then you're not giving, objects that you have attachment to enough attachment to. So, like for example, your favorite objects, those are the ones you need to learn to let go or give generously. That's when you really understand, how much attachment you have for these material things. If there's some sort of disaster, and if you lose your home and all the worldly possessions, in the house, can you live with that? Can you let all that go? These are the things, these are the emotions, you have to really cultivate. We shouldn't be attached to anything. That's the level of detachment we need to cultivate. And you can only do that if you strengthen your alopa thought. So in Buddhism, there's a practice of Dhana, which is offering food to the monks. And when you do that, you're actually, practicing this particular thought. You're cultivating this thought, for example. But there are other forms of giving. So that's why a lot of charities exist in the world. When you be part of charities, you're practicing the alopa thought. Adosa means loving kindness, which is the opposite of dosa, which is the hatred, is the opposite of adosa. So opposite of hatred is loving kindness, and Buddhism is all about, practicing loving kindness to oneself and to others, and unconditionally. There shouldn't be any conditions attached to this kind of loving kindness. So this is the thought that we need to really practice fully, so that we can get rid of our dislike, right? Our hatred, our anger and frustration. When you love yourself and others and all beings unconditionally, there's no reason to be upset with them. Because if you treat, all beings as your relations, if you love them as part of your family, if you think the whole world is a big family, when you think that your perspective will change, and you can easily forgive people for their bad actions, so you won't react to them. So you won't get upset easily. But loving kindness is very important to practice instead of love. In other religions, they practice love, right? Love your neighbor, love your self, etc. So instead of, we don't say love, okay? In Buddhism, instead of love, because love is form of attachment, whereas loving kindness is basically you're aligning, someone as just a human being, or just not as someone significant. Everyone is in the same level to love and care for. So no one is special, no one is unique. So this way, you treat everyone the same way, with loving kindness. So when you see, when you start to cultivate unconditional love, loving kindness to all beings, that's when you really, experience or cultivate this thought And this is very beautifully described in the Karaniya Sutra. It says that if you can spread loving kindness to the all beings, all humanity, in the same way as a single mother loves her own child, if you can love all humanity in that in that way, that is called true loving kindness. So there's no discrimination, there's no conditions attached to that love. Is pure, kind of blissful love, and that way you don't discriminate. You don't treat people specially. They're all in the same kind of level. The next one is called Tatra Majjhatata in Pali, which is to do with balancing. It does a balancing act of all the thoughts, all 52 thoughts. It creates a kind of balancing energy level. So keeping all thoughts in the mind in a balancing state. It is said that if you want to achieve nirvana, this is when you're at a very high stage, okay? Your Shraddha, your faith thought must balance with your wisdom thought. If you have too much faith and less wisdom, you can be fooled into things. You can be tricked into things in the name of faith. You've probably seen these kind of actions that, a lot of people who pretend to be holy people, they fool their followers for money or for other, for power or for some other gain. But if the devotee has wisdom, they'll see that all these are made of energy, and you won't be lured into those kind of short-term gains, okay, in the name of religion or other faith. So to see that difference in or to not to be fooled by those kind of people who are trying to trick people, you must balance your faith muscle and your wisdom muscle equally, and those kind of balancing is handled by this balanced thought. So that's what it means. There are other thoughts that needs to balance in order to achieve nirvana, but that's just an example. So the next thought, I'm going to go through them quite quickly, but I'm going to do them in this way. I'm going to explain them in this way. So the first of all, I'm going to explain what the word kaya and chitta means. Then I will explain the next word in all of these, because from 8 to 13, although they're different thoughts, they do a different job. They have similar meaning, but for different type of energy. So kaya means the thought energy. Okay, the kaya means thought energy, as you can see, lightness of the thought and the relaxing of the thought. So there's another kaya, thought energy. So whenever I say the word kaya in this context, it means thought energy or mental factor. Chitta means mind energy. Okay, so in the thought energy and mind energy, there's a lightness that you experience. Now, there's relaxing, softening, motivation, skillful. These are different thoughts that occur both, that influences the thought energy and the mind energy. So you'll experience these in different activities like meditation, for example. So let's go through number 8, which is kaya passaddhi, which means lightness of the thought. Lightness of the thought occurs when your mind is peaceful and calm, like in a relaxing state. Like when you're meditating, for example, you'll experience lightness, like your body is very light. That's because of when your mind is feeling very light-headed, it's because of this thought, lightness thought, or kaya passaddhi. But when you feel your body is also light, it's because of the chitta energies, lightness. So lightness of the mind, which is chitta passaddhi, lightness of the mind energy. So these are the thoughts that create lightness within your body. In the same way, these two thoughts create relaxing nature. So whenever you feel relaxed, it's because of these two thoughts. And whenever you feel kind of soft or very fine kind of feeling with your thoughts and mind energies, soft nature. This is kind of experience when you're meditating, when you're feeling light and relaxed, and everything is very fine in your mind energy set and your thought energy level. When everything is fine, very soft, very delicate, that kind of feeling or thought is cultivated by these two thoughts. The next one is when you feel motivated. Okay, kaya kammanyata, chitta kammanyata means motivation of the thought and the mind energy. So whenever you feel motivated to do something, it's because of these two thoughts. Whether now these two thoughts, this motivation is to do with doing good, okay, not bad. So when you do good action and you feel motivated, it's because of these two thoughts. The next two thought is skillful. So whenever you feel skillful or proficient in doing something well, it's because of these two thoughts are in use. Skillfulness of thought and skillfulness of mind energy is both in use when you feel proficient in doing something. Whatever you're good at, you feel you're good at something when these two thoughts are in use, are at work, basically. The next one is integrity. Kaya ujjukata, chitta ujjukata. Integrity of the thought energy and the mind energy. So whenever you feel aligned with your beliefs and values, and you're like, so you normally feel this. You normally feel aligned when you're motivated, right? So that means these two thoughts are also strong in that moment when you feel motivated, because your beliefs and values are aligned in whatever you're motivated towards on the focus. So whenever you feel like that, then the kaya ujjukata, chitta ujjukata thoughts are strong. The other, so these 19 thoughts, the first 19 of the Kusal thoughts exists in all Kusal mind energy types. Okay, but the next ones occur in different mind energy types in the Kusal category. The noble word. So whenever you feel that you mustn't, lie, swear, gossip, badmouth someone, or defame someone, is handled by the samma vacha, or the noble words thought muscle. It's because of this thought is strong that you feel like not swearing, not lying, not gossiping or bad mouthing, or any bad words that coming out of your mouth is prevented by the samma vacha thought, or the noble thought, noble words thought. And in the same way, if you're preventing yourself from doing bad action with your body, it's because of this noble action thought is strong within you, or samma kammanta thought is strong within you. And whenever you feel that when you want to earn money, and if you feel I shouldn't be earning money by lying or cheating someone, or or stealing, or something doing bad, if you feel like that, if you get thoughts like that coming into your mind, it's because of this thought. Noble livelihood thought, or the samma ajiva thought is strong in your mind. So these are the thoughts we must cultivate, right? That's why learning the Dhamma is important, because when you learn the Dhamma, it teaches you what's good and bad. So then they becomes the rules that you live by. They becomes your values and beliefs. And when you have those kind of values and beliefs, then these thoughts become stronger. The next one is very important, I think you all experience this, is Karuna or compassion. It's because of compassion thought that people are compelled to help others when they are in pain. It's because of compassion that a lot of charities exist around the world. It's because of compassion people give to the needy. It's because of compassion that you feel hurt when someone feels pain within you. So, there's very important thought. Without compassion, the world will be a very violent place. So it's important to cultivate this thought, and we should have unlimited compassion. Tathagata Buddha had unlimited compassion towards all humanity and all beings. That's why when he could achieve nirvana in a previous life, just by learning 2 words, he decided not to achieve nirvana, and he decided to give up his salvation to achieve nirvana for the benefit of the humankind, of all the beings. He thought that he wanted to become a Buddha one day and help millions of people to achieve nirvana, not just himself. That's unlimited compassion that helped him to do that. So we are very grateful to Tathagata Buddha for teaching us this Dhamma and helping us also towards the ultimate salvation. So Karuna is a very powerful thought, and Mudita means sympathetic joy or being joyful when others are happy. The opposite of mudita is jealousy. So if you don't cultivate this thought, mudita, or sympathetic joy, then by nature, the nature will cultivate jealousy. So if you feel jealous, that means you're not cultivating the sympathetic joy or mudita thought. And to cultivate this, one of the best ways to do this is when you feel jealous, you can say, don't get attached, and it goes away. Or when you, then it automatically converts into a kusal thought, positive thought. But to practice this mudita thought, you have to really, even when you see someone's happy because of a toy, because of a whatever reason, if someone's happy, try to relate to that happiness like it's happening to you. Think of a time when you felt happy in a similar situation, and then feel happy and share that happiness with that person. When you do that, you're practicing the mudita thought. You're cultivating the mudita thought or sympathetic joy. If you can't do that, just focus on the jealousy thought and say, don't get attached, don't get attached, don't get attached. Lastly, the last thought is prajna or wisdom or intellect. This is the only thought that can help you to achieve nirvana. If you develop this thought to a level of purity where you can actually see the nirvana energy with the wisdom thought, that is the ultimate achievement. So the job of the intellect thought is to dissect things, is to divide things until you see the truth. Is to get to the truth as quickly as possible. And the opposite of wisdom thought is moha or ignorance. When you feel ignorance, your wisdom thought is sleeping. It's not at play. And the only way for wisdom thought to be awakened is to have awareness thought in use. And there are exercises, there are meditation practices that helps you to improve or strengthen your awareness thought, called insight meditation or satipatthana meditation. When you practice satipatthana meditation or insight meditation, your awareness thought becomes stronger, and thereby awakening and strengthening your wisdom thought. It is this thought that helps you to destroy the ignorance thought, and ultimately to a level where your mind energy becomes so pure, and your thought energy becomes so pure that it can actually see the nirvana through this intellect thought or wisdom thought. You can think of it as a third eye, okay? If you talk about third eye, it's because of this thought. This thought that allows you to open your third eye. And that is basically the summary of all 25 Kusala or positive thoughts. So any questions before we conclude today? Lasni, can you explain to me what you understood from today's lesson? What you're taking away?
What the 25 thoughts were, and like these are the ones that you need to be aware of.
Yes.
Instead of the ones that we did last time.
Yes. And can you kind of identify some of these thoughts within your own mind? Like, you know, if you've done some good deeds, the chances are most of these thoughts were in use in that moment. So can you give an example of how you use some of these thoughts in everyday good deed that you did?
So when I'm helping my friends without schoolwork or something that they don't understand, I think that would come under the generosity one.
Yes, indeed, and also compassion as well, right? Because without compassion, you're not compelled to help someone, isn't it? So definitely compassion is there, and your awareness is also there, because you have to be mindful that you're doing, you know, whatever you're doing. You have to be mindful in that moment. But yeah, generosity is definitely there, and you have to have loving kindness there, right? Most of these thoughts are there, but I would highlight that in that action, generosity and compassion and awareness. Very good. So basically, you know, try to memorize these. Try to take a photo if you can, and you know, memorize these thoughts or go through them daily. Remind yourself, because by even, you know, thinking about these thoughts, try to identify yourself with these thoughts. It will create kusal thoughts in your mind. It will cultivate them. So it's a good thing, like 10 minutes a day, if you can practice, just recite these and try to understand the meaning and try to really connect with these thoughts with your own mind. Try to give your own words to these meanings. And that way you can recognize these thoughts as they occur in your mind. And that way you will increase your kusal karma even more, right? And also do the same for the negative thoughts. You know, review these daily, like 10 minutes a day, so that the reason you review the negative ones is that so you can recognize them as they appear in your mind, so that you can quickly get rid of them by saying, don't get attached, don't get attached, don't get attached, or watch them from a distance until they disappear after recognizing the particular thought. Good. Thank you, Lasini. Nisara, can you explain what you learned today and what you're taking away and how it's going to, you know, change your life, do you think, for the better?
So I learned about the different positive thoughts that you can have when in daily life, and how it helps you to be more aware and improve your understanding of things that you do.
Very good. And do you think you become more aware of the qualities of the thoughts in your own mind as a result?
Yeah.
Very good. Is there an example that you can share with us that cultivated some of these thoughts in your mind?
So if you give up your time to help the sibling or something.
Yes. And what thoughts do you think are exercised in that action?
Generosity and loving kindness.
Very good. And Any other action that that you're really happy about that you've done as a good deed in your life?
I can't think of anything specifically.
Okay, well, you know, I think next time you do them, try to identify what thoughts are really, you know, motivating you or helping you to do those actions. That will also increase the karmic actions attached to those thoughts. So thank you for sharing that. That's very helpful. I think, Neera, do you want to share what you're taking away from today's lesson and maybe how some of these thoughts have?
You mentioned something about the first 19 thoughts.
Yeah. So these 19 here. These 19 thoughts occur in all good deeds that we do.
Occur in all good deeds.
All good deeds, yeah. So these are the mental factors that occur in the, you know, out of the 89 mind energies, there are 8 Kusal or 8 positive mind energies that we do, and these 19 occurs in all 8 mind energies. So whenever you do a good deed, these 8 always there in those 8 mind energy types. But do you recognize any of these from your
Yes, I do.
actions?
Day-to-day things like the loving kindness and the practice of Dhana and all those sort of things which has been cultivated over years.
Yes.
And of course the awareness, thought, and the faith. I think that faith is very important one, because if you to understand the Buddha's life story itself, isn't it? And,
Yes.
How to get that
Shraddha, exactly. It's very, very powerful, and then we must cultivate those thoughts. And thank you for sharing that, Neera. Just want to also mention. Now, I said there are 10 actions that that cultivate these thoughts, and these are the 10 actions. So I'll quickly go through them. Giving in the form of Dhana, all form of giving will cultivate those Kusal thoughts. Sila means moral conduct, which means, you know, protecting yourself or practicing the 5 precepts, the 8 precepts, 9 precepts, and the 10 precepts, right? That's called Sila or discipline. Mental development or meditation definitely will cultivate those thoughts. Paying reverence to holy persons and elders. So apachayana, which means respect the elders and the holy people, or basically people who needs to be respected, like your teachers and elders in general. So when you pay respect, those thoughts are being cultivated within you. Service to others. So whenever you help others, those thoughts are being cultivated. Sharing of merit. So when you do a good deed, the only thing we can do is to share our merits to the departed ones. That's also an action that cultivate those positive thoughts. Rejoicing in others' merits. So when someone done a good deed, good action, being happy or you know, just trying to rejoice in their actions will also cultivate those positive thoughts in you. Listening to the doctrine or the Dhamma. So listening to the Dhamma definitely will get you kind of practicing or cultivating those positive thoughts in you. Teaching the doctrine or teaching the Dhamma, like that I'm doing now, is also cultivating the positive thoughts in you and also in me. Straightening out one's view, which means, you know, aligning our perception according to the Dhamma, according to these Abhidhamma teaching, according to the karmic teachings of the Dhamma, is also align, you know, cultivating those thoughts. So those are the 10 actions that we must do daily or as often as possible that will help us to cultivate those 25 Kusal thoughts. So thank you very much for your participation. Hope you learned something. Hope that will, increase your awareness and wisdom. Ultimately, may these merits, may these Kusal deeds will help you to, improve your wisdom and awareness to a level where you will achieve Nirvana in this lifetime itself. And thank you very much for participation. Look forward to your attendance and participation and contribution in the next lesson, which will take place on the third Saturday next month. Thank you. Theruvan Saranai.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.